With news that the New York Knicks are monitoring Giannis Antetokounmpo's situation, we have some mock trades that we are going to look at and react to, and I am going to give my thoughts on all three of these trades, and we're going to jump right into it. So welcome back to Knicks Digest, guys. What's up? My name is Chris. We are going to talk about this. We're going to jump right into it as we always do. So let's go. Let's talk about Giannis. We're going to break down these trades. We're going to see if each team would accept, in my opinion, and then we will talk a little bit about, after each trade, how the New York Knicks may look if this trade were to happen and what I think the ceilings of these teams would be. Very quickly, though, before we do that, let's look at Giannis' stats. It's just good to get a quick refresher. And also, I mean, is it not fun to look at these numbers? 31 points per game, 12 rebounds, almost 6 assists, shooting over 50% from the field. The man is a monster on each end of the court. He's got one weakness to his game. It's that he's not a great three-point shooter. However, that does not matter because Giannis has managed to arguably be the best player in the NBA despite not having a three-point shot for a few years now. He's never been able to shoot the ball, and it's really never really stopped him. And we all know this. This is all stuff we know. So that means it's time to jump right into these trades. Let's take a look at the first one here. This is a very interesting trade. The New York Knicks would be getting both Antetokounmpos from the Milwaukee Bucks, and in return, they would be giving Evan Fournier, Emmanuel Quickley, Quentin Grimes, Mitchell Robinson, and then picks in 2024, 2025, 2027, and 2029. Now, Fansided did not exactly talk about what these picks would be. They didn't go and jump into intricate details of what these picks are. So we're going to give a quick rundown and just a quick little thing where we're just going to mention, obviously because of the stipend rule, those trades or those picks could not be traded if they were all owned by the New York Knicks and not pick swaps. Now, the New York Knicks only have their own picks in 2027 and 2028, meaning that this would have to be, one of these would be a pick swap. The Knicks have other trades or other picks in 2024. So we're going to imagine that this is not a New York Knicks owned draft pick, and that the Knicks are essentially giving 3 picks that are not swaps and 1 swap, two unprotected, and then the 1 protected pick, because almost every single pick the Knicks have that is not theirs in 2024 does have some sort of protection on it. To really make this quick, Emmanuel Quickley is a great player. Quentin Grimes is a great player, both of whom have great potential, especially Quickley if you ask me. Evan Fournier's contract works. Mitchell Robinson, it's just, again, contract-wise, and then also he's still a young player. He's got some more potential, it feels like, and he would be a good piece for Milwaukee to get back, who they could potentially flip in another trade. And this could probably be a recurring theme, the Milwaukee Bucks would not accept this trade. There is not a blue-chip prospect here. You have Emmanuel Quickley, who's probably the highest valued prospect here. And really with Quick, he's shown that he is clearly a starting point guard in the NBA who's playing the 6th man role because of how good Jalen Brunson is. But at the end of the day, he's still not a big enough name. He has not had a great enough season. He's not putting up 20 some odd points per game as a young player. And I think that would draw the Bucks away. They probably would want RJ Barrett if you were to ask me. On the Knicks side of things, if I were Leon Rose and the Milwaukee Bucks said we would do this trade, you do that trade in a heartbeat. You don't even think about it. Losing Quickley sucks. Losing Grimes really sucks because he fits so well on basically any contender you could even think of. So both those pieces, it'd be really painful to lose. But having a guy like Dante DiVincenzo who shoots 42% from 3 softens the blow because you can start him at shooting guard. He's a great defender. He's an amazing shooter. Jalen Brunson's a 40% shooter. And then you have that front court of RJ Barrett, Julius Randle, and Giannis at center. Giannis has never played center before, so that would definitely be a bit of culture shock, a bit of an adjustment for him, as he would not be able to be more of the off-ball defender that he is in Milwaukee with Brook Lopez manning the center position. So I think this would definitely be an interesting Knicks team, and the front court shooting is not exactly what you would want. Barrett's three-point shot is very inconsistent. Randall's is inconsistent. Giannis is non-existent. So I think this team, despite the fact that great backcourt shooting and really good defense, could be very good, and I think they could win a finals. I don't know if it's the best fit. I think the Knicks would have to go out and probably make another trade with something to try to figure this out, because it really feels like Giannis is more of a power forward than a center. But with the way that Giannis plays, you need to find a very select center who can hit threes. And the New York Knicks don't have that. So I think this could be a team where if Randle could really start knocking down threes more, if he could become more of a perimeter shooter, if RJ Barrett could figure out that jump shot and be less inconsistent, then I think this team could go out and win the finals if they have a good bench with them. And obviously the bench would get a little depleted from this. But wherever Giannis goes, you're always going to know that that team can win the finals. And you will always have veterans who want to jump on that team and get noticed, or just jump on and win a ring while they still have something to add to a team outside of just veteran leadership. So let's jump into the next one, because that one took an absurdly long time. So, with that being said, we are going to jump into the trade that I think is the most likely one that we would see if Giannis were to get traded to the Knicks. The New York Knicks would receive, once again, both Antetokounmpos and Grayson Allen in exchange for RJ Barrett, Mitchell Robinson, Emmanuel Quickley, Quentin Grimes, the Dallas 2024 pick, the Knicks 2024 pick, a 2025 pick, which would have to be a pick swap unless that 2024 is not owned by the Knicks and just not specified, which, is not the case, or they would have mentioned that. So we're going to call 2025 a pick swap. And then you got 2027 and 2029, which would both be unprotected picks. Now, I think this is actually a really good trade. It's one of the best trades the Milwaukee Bucks could actually get if they were to try to trade Giannis, because Giannis would most likely request a trade. He's been pretty public about the fact that he may be willing to leave the Milwaukee Bucks if they cannot build a contender around him. All of that being said, again, you don't exactly have that blue chip prospect, but between Quickley, Grimes, and RJ Barrett, that is one hell of a package to also get 4 first-round picks with it. It's one of the best deals the Bucks could get. It probably is the best deal. Most teams cannot give away that many players that are important to the team, especially when 2 of them are wings and 1 of them's a guard, and still be able to build a contender. If the Knicks were to do this, you'd probably have to move Mitchell Robinson in a second deal. Once again, Robinson is still getting moved, but it would be in some sort of trade where the Knicks would get back some guard or wing because they're really getting depleted in that area. And Giannis would once again slide down to center, unless the Knicks were to trade Julius Randle, which we all know is not happening. I know he left CAA, but he only went to follow his agent, who's his personal agent. It has nothing to do with CAA. It has everything to do with that his personal agent went to a new agency. And it was not a bad blood thing. The guy just left. So Randle came with him because that's the guy who Randle is close with and who he trusts. So there's no real beef between the Knicks and Julius Randle, despite the fact that some fans would absolutely love it, because we're always going to have half the fan base that didn't want Julius Randle to be good because they called him trash, and then they never got over it and still hated Julius Randle. And for some reason, that's an absurdly high amount of Knicks fans, and that's something that I have never mentioned on this channel, but I've always sort of wanted to. So there that is. But unless the Knicks were to go out there and trade Randle, which I actually think is the optimal thing here, you would absolutely have to trade Mitchell Robinson then in that trade. And once again, I mean, this takes away a lot of wings, and it takes away a lot of shooting. Once again, to lose both Quickley and Grimes would be so brutal because their shooting is great. Quickley is one of the best 6 men in the league, if not the best 6 man in the league. Maybe now if Chris Paul plays that position, it'll be more of a toss-up. But at the moment, I think it's safe to say Emmanuel Quickley is probably my pick for 6th man of the year, and maybe I'm a little biased, but whatever. We're all Knicks fans. I think we all feel that way. And I do think that if the Knicks were to propose a trade to the Milwaukee Bucks for Giannis that the Bucks would actually accept, I think this is the one right here. And we're going to jump into this last one right here. That's the wrong one. I apologize. Here's the correct one. This is an interesting one, because I just mentioned I think it would be optimal to trade Julius Randle in the last scenario. And right here, it's the same 3 players that the Knicks would get. And I did not really talk about Grayson Allen that much. Grayson Allen does add shooting to the Knicks. He's not a great defender, but he's also not a poor defender. So he does add shooting to the New York Knicks roster that would be desperately needed in that first trade. But when we're looking at this one, I think what's important to see here is that the New York Knicks would be trading Julius Randle. Like the rest of these trades, Evan Fournier, Quentin Grimes, and a plethora of picks would be traded. There's a problem with this trade, though. The Bucks are saying no. There's no way the Milwaukee Bucks are taking Julius Randle. It does not make any sense. If the Bucks are to trade Giannis, they're going to get as many assets as they can. Now, I'm not saying Julius Randle's not an asset. I think he absolutely is. I think many teams would like to have him because he just put up 25 and 10, made the All-NBA third team, and despite that bad playoff performance, it was very clear that his ankle was destroyed. So I don't think that's really going to have too much harm on his value. It was very clear that he was playing on that injury, and then he later got surgery done for that injury, so it's clear it was something very serious that he was just trying to soldier through. And I just think that Julius Randle getting traded to the Bucks would make no sense here for the Bucks. I think the Bucks would also agree. There's no way this Bucks team can contend without Giannis Antetokounmpo. There is no way, no how. It will not happen. There is no world where the Milwaukee Bucks can trade Giannis for anything unless it's for a player who is of similar talent to him, which is two guys. It's either Embiid or it's Jokic. Jokic is never leaving the Nuggets, and Embiid is probably not getting traded for Giannis. So that means that there's no way the Bucks would ever trade for a 29-year-old in Julius Randle. So I think that trade's out. I think that's the one that's pretty much the mostly clear out. And also an honorable mention that I also saw in this article was Barrett, Grimes, Fournier, and 3 first-round picks. I didn't even add that one in because we don't even have to talk about why the Bucks wouldn't accept that. That's just not a fair trade at all. Just not a good deal. And basically what we keep coming back to here is the unfortunate common denominator that Giannis Antetokounmpo would cost so much, it would be a trade that would be painful to look at, even though we're getting Giannis in return. And we're just going to quickly look at this trade again, just because it is the most realistic one. Getting Grayson Allen softens the blow for your wings and guards because it does add shooting. It adds a guy who can play the shooting guard spot. Not really play small forward, maybe play point guard in a pinch. But this is really the most realistic trade of the lot, and it is so much, guys. Look at that. I mean, you're giving up 4 of the Knicks' most important players. You're giving up 5 draft picks, all first-rounders, some unprotected for the most part. But that's a realistic trade for Giannis. Like, that's the thing, is that Giannis is going to go for an unheard of amount if he is to get traded. And that's something that we need to consider, because when you see a guy request a trade, you think of all these trade scenarios, and what we don't realize is the team that values Giannis the most is the Milwaukee Bucks, because he won them a championship, and they think he can do it again, especially because they were just the first seed. And one of the main reasons that they lost to the Miami Heat was an injury to Giannis himself. Obviously, Giannis might not be the most thrilled at the moment, but I also think that people are taking his comments very literally. Giannis has always been like this. He has constantly said stuff like this, or he has alluded to maybe not staying with the Bucks for his entire career. This happened before he signed his contract extension too. He started alluding to the fact that who knows, maybe he could leave. He was doing Zoom calls with like fans where it was him, and I swear this is true, it was him, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, and Steve Kerr. I don't have to explain that. We all know what that means. We all thought the same thing. We're like, oh, here we go again. More Super Warriors, more of that. Obviously, that didn't happen. But we've seen Giannis has not always been very like, oh, well, there's no way I leave the Bucks. He's always shown that there is a world where if he can't contend, he will leave Milwaukee. And it will be, if Milwaukee trades him, because he won them their first championship in 50 years, and because what he's done for the city of Milwaukee, and how much that man is loved in Wisconsin, he would go for an unheralded amount. It would make the Kevin Durant trade look like the Suns didn't even give up that much. So that's something to be aware of. And this is also a very long video, so we're going to wrap this up right now, guys, and just say, if the Knicks are going to trade for Giannis, I'll show it one more time. It would look something like this trade. I think this is actually a really, really good job done by whoever wrote this article. I honestly did not see the name, and I apologize to them. They are on Sir Charles in Charge, a Fansided. Shout out to Fansided. And this is what the trade would look like. I think that's a realistic offer. It's going to be multiple players who are all young, who are all probably going to get better, who all have high potential. I mean, Barrett and Quickly and Grimes all have potential to break out and become a really special player in the NBA. And you also fall back on 5 first-round picks, not to mention Mitchell Robinson, who is one of the best defenders in the league, and also still only 25 years old going into this season. he's going to get so much better. There's a real chance where he can break out again. And that's really all that we have for today. This is definitely a long video, so thank you so much for tuning in, guys. I did want to talk about this just because I love reacting to trades. I love talking about trades. It's one of my favorite things in basketball to talk about. I love speculation videos, and this Giannis content is going to keep coming out. He's almost a free agent. It's going to be like a little under 2 years until he's a free agent, and that's when the Kevin Durant stuff started happening all the way back in 2014 when his 2016 free agency hit. So we're going to see more of this, especially because if the Bucks play badly, then they might trade Giannis to avoid losing him for nothing. Because Giannis has essentially alluded to the fact that he is ready to leave if that's his best option for his career. So with that all being said, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. We are going to keep making videos like this. We're going to keep reacting to trades. We're going to bring you all the Knicks news on time. We're going to react to games. Troy and I are going to get on here and basically debate everything because we can't agree on a single thing outside of our love for the Knicks. And it'll be very fun. So make sure to tune in, guys. The channel is only going up from here. And have a great day. And remember, go Knicks.